lovelies, and welcome back to Listen Closely, episode 12.
Last one of the season.
Last one of the season. We are not done with the year, so don't you dare give up on us. We're coming back next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the season's over.
12's a lot easier than 52.
Right.
So, we're going to keep doing this every single week. For some reason, if we don't do it a week, we will let you know in advance.
Yeah.
But plan on 52 of these suckers.
That's right. Every year.
Every year. I mean, we didn't start in January, so like every 52 years, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This one we are actually going to do. It's not a ghost story.
Yeah.
It's not a true crime. It's not aliens. It's not Bigfoot. Basically, it's a history lesson for this area, as well as kind of giving some updates on what we're doing and some sneaky peekies for next season. So first off, I just want to say thank you for sticking in with us. 12 episodes in, y'all are rock stars.
Yeah.
And, just the feedback we've gotten is amazing. From people just coming up to us and asking us, hey, are you those two? Yes, we are. To even, when's the next one coming out? When's the next one? When is the next one coming out? John, when's the next one coming out?
Next week.
The day and time, sir.
Oh, the next one's coming out would be every, and I say every Saturday at 8 a.m.
Unless the ghost decides that he doesn't want us to post our podcast and we have some issues and we have to do it like Monday, but,
That thing was a nightmare.
Not saying anything, Pines Theater.
Yeah.
Not throwing anybody under the bus, Pines Theater. But we got it done.
That's right.
And it's still every week. So if you did not catch it Saturday at 8 a.m., because honestly, I'm not up at Saturday at 8 a.m. I don't know if y'all know this, but we pre-record these. You can catch them at any time that you want. While you're driving, while you're giving your cat a bath. I don't know why you give a cat a bath. I give mine a bath. They don't scratch me. But whatever. Whatever you're doing, you can catch this one as well as previous ones. And, we'll get into the next season. You can still listen to these seasons.
Right.
It's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're not done. We've only scratched the surface. But let's kind of get into this history lesson that you probably don't know about. Well, actually, I take that back. You know about it, but you don't know about it because we went, but you didn't know what we were doing there.
Right.
So this one is in Beaumont, Texas.
Old B-Town.
Now, Beaumont has a lot of history.
It does. It's very rich in history, especially with the port.
Right. So we have the port. We have too much to name.
Right.
But actually, it has to deal with a park there. Do you want to take a guess of which park I'm talking about? There's a lot of parks in Beaumont and a lot of historical markers. Give you a hint. It's not Spindletop.
Okay, so then it has to be Tyrrell.
I mean, there are more. You're good at this.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just read my notes.
Maybe I did.
Sneaky peekies.
She doesn't know, but when she leaves, I read her notes.
He's not supposed to know what I'm talking about until I actually talk about it, so we can get his like true shock. Oh my gosh, is this really real kind of reactions? Yeah. But yes, we're talking about Terrell Park, and more specifically, the POW camp that was there.
I didn't know there was a POW camp.
There was.
Well, I knew because we passed by it and you told me, hey, that used to be a POW camp.
Yeah, but
I didn't know there was anything about it.
Yeah, like you're just like, that's just a, abandoned building.
Yeah.
By the way, the building's still there. They're actually working on it currently. We're going to get into that later.
Right.
But the POW camp, obviously, we were in war.
Yeah.
And this POW camp was around the 1943, 1945. Do you know what war was happening?
WW2.
Exactly. So that means that this was a German POW camp. It was built in 1935 by Civilian Conservation Corps Company, and it was a community building. And that community building was later turned into the POW camp where 200 soldiers were housed there.
See, and that's fascinating because you don't think, like you hear of all these POW camps in the world and stuff, you never sit there and think, hey, there's one in Beaumont, Texas.
Right.
Like, that's fascinating to me.
So obviously during that time, the New Deal was happening right before we started the war.
Correct.
The New Deal obviously being FDR. If you really don't know who FDR is, we're talking about Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired. He obviously wanted to kickstart our country again. So we decided we're going to, create these jobs, and the jobs are like, laying roads, creating, building parks and horse stables and buildings and natural trails and golf courses and, just anything we can do to get everybody back to work.
Right.
And then the war happened.
Yeah, totally messed it up.
So at that time, most of our workers were males. And guess who went to war? The males.
Right.
I mean, there were some ladies in there, but that drove our workforce way down.
Right.
Obviously, we need people to still harvest rice, especially in this area. There was a lot of rice farms, but the local men were gone fighting at the war. So with war times becomes POWs. And just so we're clear, what does POW mean?
Prisoner of war.
Right. So when somebody attacks somebody, instead of just shooting them all down,
They catch them.
we catch them and we either put them to work or, they put them in camps, which is still to work. But
Right.
the Germans and their POW camps obviously did not go with the codes that we had in place.
Correct.
They were horrible places, and we're not even going to begin to tell you how bad.
You hear about places like Auschwitz and places
Right.
like that, and those are just absolutely horrible places, and they were against the entirety
And
of
that was
the
their
code.
own people, and not even,
Yeah.
I mean, there were some war camps, and, there's been plenty of movies on them,
Right.
and they're just horrible.
Yeah.
Luckily, the United States, we said, no, we are going to do everything by the book. We are not going to torture them, even though they torture ours. So we had a surplus of POWs.
Right.
So what better use than to, bring them and work them?
Well, and you also got to think, Axis and Allies, like we were the Allies, so we were still by the book. By this time, the Germans, the Japanese, the Italian, they were the enemy, so they threw the book out the window.
Yeah.
So
Why would we follow your rules?
yeah,
We're trying to make our own.
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah, I mean, America did pretty well in following what they were supposed to.
And with Texas having the port and, the rice fields, we have sugar canes in Louisiana. I mean, this is a pretty rich area that needed a whole bunch of workers, and we didn't have any because they were all fighting. So what better way than to bring them over to our area, and that is where we get Terrell Park's POW camp.
Yeah.
It was one of the satellite camps. That just means that they basically threw it together. So this community building became a very quickie POW camp where they worked and they continued to harvest rice. I had to think about it. I was going to say pick rice, but it's not really you don't sit there and pick individual grains out. I mean, you harvest the rice. They continued to, work in the stables and things like that. And they were treated well.
Yeah.
They were treated so well, in fact, that after the war, many of those prisoners later relocated to Texas.
Really?
Yeah, so they said, you know what, we were treated well, we actually like this area, we like what y'all are doing, so we're going to move to Texas. Which is not a crazy thing during war times. I mean, we've had plenty of our own who would go to France and all these other places, and they would move there. I mean, it's not a far-fetched thing.
Right.
But that's kind of just a little quick history. So, like I said, you can find the POW camp in Terrell Park. It is not, so when you first go in and you see that beautiful garden and, the place where everybody takes pictures, if you're not from this area, it's a gorgeous place. I took, I believe, my senior pictures, there's been a lot of pictures taken there.
And it's also haunted.
Is it haunted?
But we'll get to that in another episode.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going to have to cover possible ghosts. See, I thought I was getting away with no ghosts, but just kidding, there might be ghosts.
Every time I try to get out, they pull me right back in.
Exactly. We try to throw out some history as just a cool place to visit in general, and ghosts.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere could be haunted.
Could be.
You never know. That's just, again, it's a cool place. So if you go to the park, obviously there's that really pretty, the little lake that they have.
Yeah.
And they have the bridge and stuff like that.
Yeah, the rose
but
garden.
if you keep going past that and you're going, act like you're heading towards the golf course, which is way back there.
Right.
A little bit to the left-hand side is this old abandoned building. Again, they are doing construction on it currently. They're trying to actually revive it back to be a community center.
Right.
So you can't go in the building. All you can do is kind of just drive up to it and look at it. But that building's still there,
Yeah.
which is really cool. That I mean, it was built as a community center, went to be a POW camp, and now it's returning back to a community center. So they're still trying to use the building. They're trying to save as much as they can. Obviously, through all the storms that we've had and everything, it is in very bad disrepair. But they're trying their best to keep what they can. When we went, which was a couple months ago, I mean, they were actively working on that building.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't like it's a total loss. They're trying to tear it down. Like, they were actively trying to fix that building.
Right.
But let's get into the next season. Season 2.
Season 2.
Dos.
Dos.
That's 2 in Spanish.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know that. Season 2, we are going to be talking more unsolved stories. We didn't really do too many true crimes this season. We kind of wanted to test the waters, see what y'all like, what y'all don't like. Let us know if you want more ghost stories, more true crimes, or more history lessons. Because, honestly, we both love history, and we'll just give you history lessons.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I mean, it's really up to y'all and what y'all want to hear about. If you know something that you want us to talk about, definitely send it our way. We'll get to that in a minute. I know, like, you're just waiting for me to tell you, like,
Yeah.
how can they reach me? But you hold on for just a second.
I'm holding on.
Hold it. So next season, we do have a couple more unsolveds we're going to be doing, as well as our ghost stories and the Big Daddy, Bigfoot.
Oh, we're going to talk about Bigfoot. Finally.
Yeah. Finally. And
I'm very surprised that he's coming up in season 2. I totally thought we were going to catch him in season 1.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that. So my family, first off, my stepmother is from Arkansas.
Right.
So she knows some Bigfoot stories herself, as well as her family.
Right.
And then my dad is an avid Bigfoot believer.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to the conventions for Bigfoot. By the way, there are some. If you want me to tell you about those, I want to go to one, actually.
Yeah.
But right now, we're talking about ghosts and
I will tell you
goblins
this. I will tell you this. If you are around my father and mother-in-law for more than 10 minutes and you're talking to them about Bigfoot, some of the stories they tell you will make you a believer.
Right, like when we went to Arkansas. So we went to Arkansas to kind of escape Laura. Yeah, we escaped Laura, and they ended up telling him Bigfoot stories.
Yeah.
While we were there, and then he had to go get something from the car. Well, my dad is a prankster. He went around and like started making noises and freaked him out.
Yeah, I wouldn't go outside for the rest of the night.
He was like, "I'm done. Nope, not going."
Yeah.
And we were just laughing hysterically. It's one of those you had to have been there to understand.
Yeah.
But again, by now you should know my husband is a scaredy cat.
I am.
And he is actually not the Bigfoot we are talking about. If you've seen him, he has a large foot, but there's something that has an even larger foot.
Truth. Hashtag truth.
So we're going to be talking about him, unsolves. One actually just recently hit the articles again.
Yeah.
And that one I'm actually really excited because it has a movie that was loosely based off of that one.
Yeah.
Then we're going to be getting into some more serial killers.
Yeah.
And remembering those victims. Obviously, we don't want to put the actual serial killer in the limelight. But in order to understand what happened, we have to talk about them.
Right.
If you want to maybe hear about Louisiana, because I lived in Louisiana for 7 years, by the way, and they got some stories that'll freak you out. And they're actually our neighbors, so they're still they're easy drive to get to.
We should tell them about the Rougarou.
We should. Maybe season 2.
Maybe season 2.
Bigfoot's like Cajun cousin.
Yeah.
If you want us to talk about a certain thing, or if you want us to revisit a certain topic, let us know. John, I know you're waiting for this. How can they let us know?
You can go to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and you can all you have to do is just type in HTT Listen Closely, or you can email them at httlistenclosely@gmail.com.
Congratulations, you're not fired yet.
Yay!
So, and to further that, TikTok as well as Instagram have exclusive videos that you will not see on Facebook. So just because you follow me on Facebook does not mean you see everything.
There you go.
So you have to watch on TikTok and Instagram. TikTok especially. I will post extra photos, findings. I'm going to give a small spoiler. We talked about the Pines Theater, and we believe we possibly caught something. And I shared it, but not on Facebook.
There you go.
I shared it on TikTok, and I think I shared some of it on Instagram. So if you're not following there, you're missing out on what we found.
Yeah.
So you should probably follow us.
Cool deal.
We ask that you hit that subscribe button on whatever media streaming service that you're listening to us on. And if you happen to be on Apple Podcasts, you leave us 5 stars and a review because it makes it better.
Yeah. Feedback makes us grow.
Apple says that's a good thing you should do, and I'm just going to go with what Apple says.
Yeah.
And if you don't have Apple, like my husband, and you're on Spotify or anything else, you can always just subscribe to us, comment on some of our posts, message us, and let us know how we're doing, how we're not doing, what we can do to improve. Maybe we're just way too loud on this mic. Maybe we're not loud enough. I mean, whatever it may be. Let us know.
Yeah.
We take all suggestions, criticisms. We won't get mad at you. If you see us out on the, street, we're not going to just shun you and be like, ugh, you. Like, come talk to us. Come tell us your story. We'd love to hear it.
Hope you like hugs.
My husband's a hugger.
Yeah.
I kind of feel it. Like, if I feel like you're going to be a hugger, I'll hug you. But,
Yeah.
I'm not going to just outright, come hug you.
Yeah.
And, COVID times, some people may not want hugs, John.
Yeah, it's been really hard on me the past couple
I know.
months.
I'm sorry. That's why you have a dog.
Yeah.
You can hug the dog,
That's right.
which you might be hearing in the background.
Yeah.
If not, hey, we're doing our job right.
That's right.
Do you have anything you want to add to our Terrell Park POW camp? Anything about season 1, season 2 that's coming up?
No. Can't wait for season 2. I'm excited.
And as we stated before, season 2 is still happening next week, so don't you think we're taking a break, because we're not. We're committed.
I don't get breaks.
We don't get breaks. Not even tonight. Doing this podcast, so obviously y'all mean so much to us.
At 1:07 in the morning.
1:07. We're not going to say it's 1:07 in the morning. I don't know if we can do that. But that just means I'm a slacker.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. Well, if that's all you have for this season, and for next season, I know you're excited.
Yeah.
For next season. But as always, we ask that you do one thing other than subscribe and tell us how amazing we are. Which you can do that too. I'm not going to tell you what you can and cannot do. But if you can do one thing and one thing only, that's listen closely. See y'all next season.